everyone, and welcome to the Path 11 podcast with your hosts, Mike and April. We have a small little show for you guys today. It's just going to be Mike and I, and we're going to do a little wrap up from our 4.5-day trip on the road. We had a great time. We brought another cameraman along with us, Tim McMoneagle.
Yeah, the trip was originally supposed to be like 7 days, I think. Supposed to go to Wednesday to Tuesday, but we ended up wrapping up Sunday, so we actually came back early. And I think because Tim was with us, helped us to be very efficient and, you know, set up and break down the equipment very quickly, and everything just seemed to go a lot smoother with, you know, extra set of hands.
Yeah, so if you're curious to know who this new person is in some of our pictures, Mike, do you want to let them know how you and Tim actually got together and some of the projects you guys are working on?
Yeah, Tim is actually a local filmmaker, lives about 10 minutes from me in Kingston, and we met, our daughters actually went to the same school, and that's how we met, through the school. I found out he did film work, and at the same time he was discovering that I was working in film, and we collaborated on a few past projects, and we started another company which does local music videos and scripted series, and actually even some corporate events. It was good to bring him along just to see on a more of a long-term project over a course of several days instead of one day. It was good, you know, to work like that. And
he was also great for comedic relief. Funny guy.
Yeah.
He had us laughing the entire trip. Oh, so much fun. And the company that you guys have is
Cinetopia Media Group.
Yeah, and I think, you know, who knows, maybe you guys might even see some combined projects between Path 11 and Cinetopia Media Group in the future. So that will be pretty cool. I think we all worked really well together and definitely had a fun time on the road. So we just wanted to break down a little bit what our trip was like, and if you want to see more candid shots and just some personalized photos, we would encourage you to head over to Instagram. We posted a few on Facebook, but we really want to just push out more information and media through our Facebook page, and we'll really get a little more personal through Instagram. So our tag on Instagram is @thepathseries. So we left pretty early on Wednesday morning. I came down from Saratoga, picked Mike and Tim up in Kingston, and then we were on our way down to Maryland to go interview William Buhlman.
Yeah, that was about a 4-hour drive, 4.5-hour drive. And William was great. He was just like old times when we talked to him, and he gave us some new information that we didn't get before.
So yeah, when we were done finishing William, we actually stayed the night in Maryland, and then we head on out first thing in the morning to Virginia, to the Monroe Institute, and there we were knocking out 3 interviews with Skip Atwater, Nancy McMoneagle, who is now the president and executive director of the Monroe Institute, and Tom Campbell happened to be teaching, I think it was like a 7-day workshop or pretty intensive My Big Toe workshop, so we got a chance to grab him on a break to be able to film him during that time.
And part of the reason for us going this time of year, and particularly this week, was to catch him on the East Coast, because normally he lives in Alabama, and just adding that location to the trip would have added another probably 2 days at least. And this way we can get his interview done, and everybody else is all within the same 2 day. We actually covered Monroe in 2 days. It was good. It's not like we were doing a full in-depth interview like the first time around, where Tom, I believe we had like 9 hours of footage of just his interview, and I think William went like 5 or 6 hours. This was more a wrap-up of what we've covered in the films. The interviews only averaged about maybe 2 hours in length. I think the shortest interview was about an hour and a half, and I think that was Nancy's.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was having such a short period of time with these people. I think that we used our time really wisely, and the questions, like they usually do, kind of came through themselves, and the content of stuff is going to be pretty brand new. This next film is going to be quite different than the first two, and we'll talk about a release date later on at the end of this podcast. It was actually also really fun while Tom was having a workshop there. His participants were on break, and we were outside just shooting some B-roll, and a couple of people came over, and they were asking us if we were filming there, and we said, yeah, we're making a documentary and Tom's in it. And the person said, oh yeah, I've seen the Path documentaries. And we said, well, yeah, that's us. We made them. And it was a really fun synchronistic event. And we met this person who follows us on Facebook. Jason Kish is his name, and he's a great supporter of our films. And that was really neat. Mike, you actually recognized his face. I thought he kind of looked familiar, and I was like, where do I know him from? But
yeah, we're in a few mutual groups. Of course, they're escaping me at the moment. I think one of them's Lucid Dreaming, another one.
And Astral Projectors.
Yeah.
These are groups on Facebook.
And yeah, it was. I recognized the face, and he said his name was Jason, and that's how then we made the connection. And yeah, it was really nice to meet with other, especially Tom's participants in his class, and it was great to hear, even though we only spoke briefly, just
some feedback.
Yeah, how much fun they were having. And
yeah, so feel free again. You can find that picture over on our Instagram page if you'd like to put a face to a name. And then from Virginia, we took off to Florida to see Paul Rademacher, and that was kind of a long trip. Some cool things that were happening along the way. As many of you know, 11 happens to be a pretty significant number for Path 11. And we documented some funny things that happened along our trip. We had 2 hotel rooms, and 2 out of the 4 hotel rooms added up to 11. And a couple of times on our GPS, our arrival time was 1:11 a.m., 1:11 p.m. So we tried to catch moments like that, and that happened on our way down to Florida.
And when we were scheduling this trip, I don't know, it was August, we were making the original plans, and we said, we can leave on the Wednesday, make sure we get Tom that last day of his class in Virginia, and not realizing it, but until after, it was a few weeks later when I was marking down the calendar, and I realized that we actually left on 11/11.
Yeah, that was cool. So we had a lot of synchronicity with the number 11 again on our trip, as we usually do. But it was great to get out of the New York weather and head down to Florida. And Paul and his wife are gracious hosts, and the weather was beautiful. We had a chance to go down to the beach and eat some great food at a restaurant called the Salty Pelican, which was a lot of fun too. And then we ended up making it back to New York really quickly late Sunday night, and it's Tuesday now, and Mike and I are already in the editing room. So we are really anxious to start putting this last film together and getting it out there. Keep watching our website for the pre-order to come up soon, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
in the next few months.
I would keep listening to the podcast and subscribe to the newsletter, and of course connect with us on Facebook and Twitter, because we're going to have some big announcements probably within the next couple weeks, I'm thinking. Yeah,
so we're going to have some more shows back online shortly here in December. We have a couple of other guests that are lined up for our podcast, so we'll get our show back on schedule for you guys. And again, really appreciate all the feedback that we get. We've been getting quite a few emails and suggestions about some people that you guys would like to hear, and we are contacting those people. And also we really enjoy just some of the comments that you make about how the podcast is impacting you. We also want to thank everyone so far who has left a comment and a review on iTunes. That really helps us to move up in the rating system, and they've really been great feedback. So we really appreciate the people that, take that extra maybe 2 minutes to get on their phone and either give us 5 stars or write a quick review about how the podcast has impacted them. So we thank you again for that. And all right, I think we're going to sign off here, and we'll be in touch soon.